So good afternoon. So tell me a little bit about yourself and your business, please.
So hi there. Yeah, my name is William Redpath and my business is Manabu Learning. So information, ideas and experiences for lifelong learning and a changing workforce. I guess what does that mean? Well, we're a learning and development consultancy. Generally, we're working with businesses to try and help them develop their staff, raise morale, improve productivity, these types of things. I guess the type of business that we are, we're having this conversation online today. Generally speaking, we work with the companies that work in that way, that work online, that have big remote teams, and we come in because we feel as if we've got some quite innovative and modern ways to help those organizations engage and develop their people. So that's really what we do.
Fantastic. There's certainly plenty of opportunities over the last few years of online and remote working.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like, but I just feel like that is true, but it's also something that's very close to my own heart in terms of how I feel the way and the world of work is changing. And I feel like there is a really healthy conversation happening around people's work-life balance and how people can still get all the great things that come from working for a fantastic company, but without having to go to a physical office space and to take part in those. So I think that's very much, my company very much tries to fill that space, to try to support organizations and really try to help those people. That's really where it comes from. So yeah, it's a great opportunity in the marketplace, absolutely. But I think just as importantly, from a philosophical point of view, that's something we really believe in as a company, and we really want to support, support that type of work. So yeah, it really works for both, I guess.
Brilliant. And for how long have you been in business for, William?
So I started my business, and people are going to laugh now, but I started my business on the 1st of March 2020. On March 2020, I know, is a month that stands out, I'm sure, in the calendars of most people. But obviously, like that was a big thing, which I might speak about a bit more later on. But been in business for just over 2 years. Obviously, you can do the math. In terms of this type of work, though, and the type of stuff that I've been doing, I've been doing that for probably about 6 or 7 years through various different things and whatever else. But I've managed to commercialize it, which is wonderful. Make a living at it from about March 2020 is when I started. Yeah.
Brilliant. And whenever you were growing up, is this what you envisaged doing?
No, no. I think whenever I was growing up, I think the earliest memory I have of like my dream job is I wanted to be an explorer. I think is what I told someone one day. But what I've always enjoyed is working with people. I've always got a real buzz off that. I've got a real buzz off coaching, developing, in lots of different ways, by the way, not just like in work, but like even when I was like a team captain on my hockey team at school, I enjoyed interacting with people. I enjoyed making people feel good, making them feel welcome, helping people with things. Like that's always skills I think that I've had and have come very naturally to me. So as much as it may not have been obvious to me when I was 14 or 15 years old that was the career ultimately that I would go on and have, I think that it definitely is something that it's something I'm really glad I'm doing now. I feel really blessed that I'm able to do this as a career because it really plays to my strengths. I think so. Yeah, explorer first, but maybe in another life. I might go on and do that.
All right, and look, who would be your ideal customer?
A good question. I think, well, I know the answer to that question. Like I've spoke to you a bit of it already, but look, basically we're looking to work with companies that have some kind of remote working element to them. Okay, it doesn't have to be a company that does everything remotely, but generally those are the types of companies that work best with us, simply because they kind of need us in a way, and we can help them. To make it even more specific than that, it's probably also fair to say that just the nature of the type of work we do, people have some kind of budget for this. So usually there's some kind of function within the organization, HR otherwise, that supports, that can pay for us, I guess is important, that can bring us in. So usually then you're probably looking for companies that are over 250 employees, generally speaking, and they've got some kind of remote working element. And then if I was going to add another layer to that, I think it's important to say as well that we work with companies that have really engaged and embraced remote work, not just because of the COVID pandemic, but maybe because they were doing that anyway. So for example, I've mentioned like the types of work or the events or training, that type of thing that we might do. On a typical session, we might, we could have 12 people on a session. 4 of those people could be in Singapore. 4 of them could be in Dublin, 4 of them could be in San Francisco. So I think it's where these people are. These people are never going to meet in person. It just logistically is just not going to happen. So therefore, the companies would be people that are working remotely. They've got disparate teams. They're distanced by geography. And also they have the kind of capacity where they can bring this in. And usually that's going to be companies over 250 people. It's typically the type of organizations that we work with. And actually, to be honest, it's usually much bigger than that anyway. Just because that kind of suits the kind of interventions that we have. So those would be I guess the ideal customers that we'd be after.
All right. And were there any business changes that you had considered that COVID-19 made a necessity?
Yeah, like I guess the biggest one is being online, and I think we've all been on that journey over the last 2 years. But it's also true to say that whenever I started this business and when I was kind of going through that process of starting a business prior to trading, in the early part of 2020, I didn't see, or maybe perhaps didn't recognize the online opportunity in the way that I do now. It's true to say that whenever I was thinking about it, it was going to be a much more conventional business where my clients would be local companies and I'd be doing more face-to-face stuff. But what happened, of course, in 2020 was that wasn't possible any longer. We couldn't meet. It wasn't safe. And it wasn't safe to do that really for nearly 2 years, a year and a half at least. So therefore, it was a bit of sink or swim time. And it was a case of I either didn't do my business and I went and got a job, or I decided to try it online and move my business online. And I'm delighted that I made that decision because that did necessitate that. COVID changed it for me. It brought me online, and probably what ended up happening was it pushed us into a place in terms of the brand of the company and my own personal brand, which may have otherwise taken years to get. It really just fast tracked me into like, okay, I'm a big organization and all of a sudden I can't do anything anymore because we can't meet up. I wonder if anybody does this stuff online. Oh, here's this guy, let's get him in. And now I'm there. We actually got last year, in last year, we got our first business award for innovation, thanks to the great guys at Causeway, the Ireland Scotland Business Exchange. Won an award for that, and that was just testament to the work that we had put in to move our business online and the success that we've had with that. So COVID really changed everything for us. I think back in 2020, but I think all businesses do that to a certain extent. Like nobody's going to do it for you really. You have to kind of just look at the circumstances you're in and think about how you respond to them. Okay, albeit I'll accept that for me as a smaller business and it just started, it was easier perhaps to pivot and change, but nevertheless, we still had to do it. We still had to kind of rip up my business plan and start again. But did do it, and really delighted with how that's progressed. Since then, it's been a really wonderful opportunity for us. Yeah.
It's certainly an interesting journey. And if you think of all the actions that you've taken because of the pandemic, what are some that will remain part of your business?
I think, well, there's two ways I would answer that, and one of them is like is an action, and the second is more of an ongoing thing. But the first one is just about the online experience, right? So like once you go online, once you have an online business, whether it's something like mine where it's kind of usually more live, there's some stuff we'll do which is behind the scenes with clients, but usually it's live. Usually we're there. There's people there. That opportunity is enormous, both from the way in which you can work with clients and the clients you get to work with. I mean, I work with people in Sweden, France, up until last year, hopefully things get better, but a client in Ukraine and Belarus, which is really exciting, Poland, all over. I can do that if I was working here, well, I could, but it'd be much more expensive and time consuming to travel to all these places. And so that on the one hand, I don't think that's going to change. Obviously, people, as they return to work, there's going to be a a mixed experience, let's say, maybe in terms of where people work, but there will still be an enormous remote working population that we really want to try and support. So that'll be the first thing. The first thing is about being online. The second thing is more a philosophy, which I think we have learned and it will continue, and it is about innovation. And it's when we're doing anything in our business, we always try and ask that question about, what's the best way to do this? What's the best way to do this thing? And whenever we were back to your previous question, just about what has affected your business and how has COVID affected your business? Well, I still want to help people. I still want to do those things. So asking yourself that question, what's the best way to do this? Well, it's to do it online. I think we want to keep innovating. We want to keep that innovative culture in the business and just keep asking ourselves, what's the best way to do this, and not be precious about what we do either. Just because something worked 6 months ago or worked a year ago and people connected with that, maybe because it was on trend or for whatever reason, doesn't mean it's always going to work forever. So I think it's just constantly having that, constantly asking yourself those questions as a business owner, as a leader of a business, and asking like, yeah, what's the best way to do this and how best can we serve our clients? I think learning that culture has been one of the biggest things, and I really want to try and keep that in my business as well.
So again, so what would you say is the biggest learning since you've been a business owner?
Trust your own instincts. Trust your own instincts 100%. I think everyone has an opinion about how you should run your business. And I'm not saying this is like I know it all either. Like I'm like relatively young guy, not young, but I'm relatively youngish. And sometimes people will offer you advice. People will always offer you advice, but people do it for different motivations, and they do it sometimes to validate their own reasons or whatever it is. But for me, it's about trusting your own instincts. And to be honest with you, anytime I've made a decision where I've trusted myself and gone, no, that's the right thing to do, it's worked out. It's worked out in whatever way. When I listen to too much advice or I do something because somebody's told me to do it, it often doesn't work out. So I think you have to, as a business owner, yes, get information, yes, make informed decisions, collect as much perspective as you can. I think that's really important. And one of the great things about having business coaches and people around you to help you support and do that. But I think that at the end of it all, ultimately you're the person that's responsible for the decision. So it's your decision and you have to make that decision yourself and what's best for you. So that's not something, by the way, that was always with me. That you asked about learning there, and I do feel like it has been a learning, because at the start, when I started my business a couple of years ago, I think I would have been more like, oh, I just need people to tell me what to do. And that doesn't work. You need to try and collect what is the information that you need and to make your own decisions. So yes, trust your instincts, I think, is the biggest learner for me, for sure.
Very good. And what's most inspiring to you today?
That is a great question. I think for me, what's inspiring is the opportunity. I just think the opportunity is continually inspiring. Just recently got some fantastic feedback from a client, just about some work we've been doing with them, both in terms of like just how the work's been received, but also how they're kind of embedding that as an organization. And like, it just reminds me about the importance of the work we do, the opportunity with the work we do. Well, I'd like to have that with every single client that we work with, but it's there, and the opportunity is always there. And like, I think that, like, you can maybe hear my voice, but it's really about that makes me feel great. And it makes me feel quite a lot of ownership over my future and a lot of agency over that. And I think that's really inspiring. There's other things as well, by the way, that inspire me. I'm lucky to have some amazing friends who have some great businesses as well. And being surrounded by those people is a continual inspiration to me, because it's quite motivating to see the success that they have achieved. And I want that for myself, my own business. And I think that's a constant inspiration. So to answer that question without mentioning my friends and peer group would be wrong, because they are incredible as well. But I think just at its core, the opportunity is inspiring. The opportunity is inspiring, and like I think particularly as we move into whatever this next phase is going to be, the online opportunity is going to be enormous for those people that are there to really embrace it and harness it. And yeah, that's really inspirational. And one final thing to say, I do want to say this. We're blessed enough to get nice feedback from people. We do ask for feedback from the work that we do, but you see when that comes in and people say things to you like, I'll give you an example. We had someone give us feedback last week about some work that we've been doing with them. They were going for a CEO position in a large organization, and they fed back to us that they got the position after they've been working with us and some of the stuff that we do, and sent us a lovely testimonial around like how to improve their confidence, give them a new perspective, all this type of stuff. And I was thinking, that's actually changed that person's life. Like, they've got this job. I'm not saying it was all down to us, but like, from their point of view, it had a huge influence and a factor in them being successful in that process. And like, getting that kind of feedback is amazing. Like, genuinely the type of thing that you go to bed at night with a big smile on your face, because you feel like you've made a real difference. And so yeah, I've given you 3 answers, but I think the opportunity, my friends, and then the impact of your work just is a continual inspiration for me in my business. Yeah.
And you said earlier on about getting advice that when you started your business, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self, if that were possible?
Oh, I think like I'm trying to think back to what I was like as an 18-year-old. Probably really annoying, uppity, no doubt. Look, the thing about it is, it's hard to answer this question directly. The direct answer I give you is, or I give the advice I would give to my 18-year-old self would be really just go for it. Know that you can do really whatever you put your mind to, and believe in yourself in that way, and not wait until you've kind of muddled through a career to then like take the plunge. I think it's more like, do it from then and begin to learn. Do it from then. Like there's like you don't need to wait. You don't need to wait for people's permission. You don't need to wait until you're old enough. You can do it. Yeah, but I think that but then equally, I would also equally say that I am a firm believer that everything happens at the right time as well for you. And so I don't have any regrets around waiting. But if you're asking me that question, that's what I would say. I would say that, just go for it. You will do well. You will do well, whatever you do. Yeah, give it a shot. I think that's what I would say. It would come across more inspiring than what I've just said. I would give them a real motivational pep talk. But
I think the 18-year-old William would be inspired by that. I've no doubt.
Okay, good.
So what are there any sort of from Manabu? Are there any sort of offers, William, that you would like included in the newsletter?
Yeah. So I think just what our clients have been really connecting with recently, and then prospective customers as well, has been our LinkedIn Lives that we do. So we do run a fortnightly LinkedIn Live. It happens every Thursday at 12 p.m. or every other Thursday rather, fortnightly at 12 p.m. And we talk about topics that are important to our clients and the people that we want to work with. So what I would do is I just encourage people to register for those lives, attend them, leave us some comments, ask us some questions, and we'd be really happy to help you. I think the thing that's kind of going on at the minute is we're starting later this month, next Thursday, which is the 26th of May. We're starting a remote series. So we're talking all about remote work. The next one is called Authentic Connections, Engaging Remote Teams. The reason why someone would come to that is because if they're a manager a remote team, if they work in a remote team, if they want to work remotely, if they want to manage a remote team, if they come to that, they're going to get some practical things they can do to work with that team immediately. They'll be able to take those away at 12:30 when it finishes, and begin to use those with their team. So we always focus on some real practical takeaways, and obviously there's always an opportunity to follow up with us as well and ask us any other questions about that work. But LinkedIn Lives, get involved. You can check it out on William Redpath on my page. You'll see the events there. Check them out, register, leave us some comments. We'd love to see you there.
No, that sounds really interesting. So look, William Redpath of Manabu Learning, thank you very much indeed for your time. It's been great to hear about you and your business and your journey, and I wish you all the success in the future.